Poverty. 1 out of 4 people in Augusta is living in poverty, and kids are getting hit the hardest. According to new census data, 40% of children under 18 in Augusta are living below the poverty level, and for kids under 5 with single moms, 2/3 of those kids are living in poverty. Now, if those kids are our future, that's something we have to address. Marion, are we doing enough to help kids?
I don't think we are. I think we're not paying very much attention to the situation at hand. We see people traveling down the street, going to work, catching a bus, or just not doing very well. We say, well, they'll get better. They'll fall out of the crack and they'll get up and get going. But there are so many people who are looking for good jobs, who wants to do good in this community and want to raise their children and be prosperous. But because of whatever reason, if you had never lived that, if you just passed by that, you have never been involved in that. Too many people pass by and don't know the situation. We go by what we see, because we're visual creatures, but we go by what we see, and we never check into other areas. There's some streets I can tell you that people that on the commission, especially on the white side of the commission, never even been on. That don't know anything about. That doesn't say that all blacks have been poor and single family. I'm not saying that. But there's so much of that out there now that we've got to get into the trenches and see what is really happening. What would it take to get a single parent a good job, or get them on their feet, or get them into business, not to be entrepreneurs, to be millionaires, but just to be able to sustain themselves and be able to afford a nice home. You look at the people in the projects and stuff. I hear people talking about Columbia County. Columbia County don't have an inner city. Columbia County don't have a project. You can't compare Augusta with Richmond County to Columbia County. I mean, it's just totally different.
Bob, do you agree with him? Have you experienced things Marion's talking about?
Yeah, I think it's important that we focus on what Marion said when he said that other communities around us don't have an inner city. And this is true of any urban core. That's where the poverty is. It's in the urban center. Exactly. In every city, every major city. And yeah, I'm concerned about the future of the children in this community, just as I know you are, and Marion is, and your viewers are. But we have some real serious issues here as to how in the world we're going to take people who have grown up in a cycle after cycle of poverty and move them out of that into another level where they can more freely stand on their own. And it's difficult, especially when you see articles in the paper talking about people living in public housing, and folks are so proud they've lived in their public housing unit for 50 years. That's not the mentality that gets people out of poverty. That's the mentality that keeps them in poverty.
What can a mayor do, and is our mayor doing enough?
I think Mayor Copenhaver is quite concerned about these issues just as we are, and he's expressed that. It's a difficult issue. I know when I left office in 2005, the poverty rate in the city of Augusta in the corporate limits was about 18%, and it's continued to go up as the economy has gotten worse. There are things you can do as far as working with job creation, job training, working with your schools. I spent a lot of time in the public schools here when I was mayor. I think all those things are being hit on. But the young people today need to have role models and a real expression that hope is just not a dream, but hope can be a reality, that there is a better life ahead for them in the community.
But I kind of disagree with the mayor. And
well, that's why we're here. We're on the divided city, Marion. That's what.
Why do you disagree?
I think I disagree a little bit with what the mayor said, because a lot of people go to school and read with the kids and that kind of thing. But I mean, to go by and read with kids or to show your face is one thing, but to actually get involved and see what can be done. I think people talk about wanting to help, but I don't see people helping. I said earlier that I watch what people do, not what they say. Anybody can say, well, I'm with you, I'm for you. Let's have prayer, and we're going to pray for you. But when somebody comes to the church and needs some help, and I can pray all day long, but they need some physical help. They need, whether it be finances, whether it be a place to stay, you got to put some feet to your prayer. And everybody talking about doing things are not doing that. So when we go to schools and read to the kids, and I've been in half the school in Richmond County. I take my dog to the school to show kids about discipline and about training and stuff. I mentioned that earlier. But I've been in half the school in Richmond County because I truly know that these young people need a fair opportunity to get ahead, because there's so many tricks and so many traps out there, they'll get caught up in one very, very easily. If you look at the crime rate, and we are 13% of the population in the United States, but we're 80% of the prison population. Now, somebody need to look at that picture, because that may be going off from where we are, but we need to understand that poverty in Augusta, Richmond County is truly bad, and people need a fair opportunity to get a job. The study came back, we spent $500,000 to tell us what we've been knowing all these 2,000 years, that have been discriminated against women and minorities. But nobody stepped to the plate and said, well, look, we're going to do something about that. The mayor